Designers are using it a lot too to get that internal perspective. This is for a designer of an airplane, car manufacturers, designers are using it. Anytime you can find a design flaw early before you create a prototype, you save a lot of money. But I want to come back to this because this is what we're going to do with a 360 degrees. We're going to bring a glacier back to the Bergen Swamp. So you'll be able to pan around and see it as there was a glacier there. Now I've been told by Steve this is not an accurate enough glacier. We have, this is a school project, it's not going to be a Steven Spielberg production. Eventually we can correct it, and maybe we will before I release, but the visitors will get that perspective, you know, from this of what it was like hundreds or thousands of years ago. We can also bring Lake Tonawanda back, and we can add sound, so you can hear the lake. So the visitor coming through can learn, you know, what Lake Tonawanda looked like in this region. Now, again, this is actually from Scotland, as we have apparently a glacier in the background. But it's close. If we can get a glacier in the background, we will, but I think you get the idea of what we can do. We can bring, you know, we can bring things that didn't exist for hundreds of years back in to give the visitor that perspective of what it would have looked like were there, rather than us describing a glacier, right? So we have this, I was going to say long road ahead, but it doesn't look so long now. We're doing really good. We've identified the trail it's going to be on. It's going to be on the Pocock Trail. The name is a swamp tale of the Pocock Trail. And this is in honor of Mary Slipher, who wrote a swamp story. So a tale is a shorter version of a story, right? It's maybe a chapter in a story. So we can also expand this into other trails. A swamp tale of the Torby Hill Trail, right? And all together, if we do all the trails, we have the story, right? The full story of the swamp. So we know the 10 exhibits, and we have identified the what will be exhibited there, the interpretive material, if you will. We actually got through this and then realized, geez, you know, if it's a museum, we do need a welcome and a thank you. So we'll be adding those. We'll have the Macedon at the beginning and the 360 degree probably somewhere in the middle, kind of to break up all the vision augmented reality. It's still up for debate. I would like to have a pterodactyl at the end, but I've been told that's not going to happen. We'll see. So I had these as tentative, but the 360 degree exhibit and the Macedon, I think those will be in. Maybe not Steven Spielberg production ready, but they'll be in. The docent, I think we can, but it would have to be honest and say it's still tentative at this point. So what's the path north? We'll be finishing the rest of the information, interpreted material, exhibits 1 through 10. Jay and Rich are part of the committee, and hopefully we'll have time to do some editing and reviewing of them, calling it the elf phase. I already know I spelled some of the birds wrong. Well, not spelled them wrong, but whether they're uppercase or lowercase. Apparently that's a very controversial thing. I asked my sister, Ellen, who's an English teacher, and she texted me back like 3 long paragraphs about that, and I was like, you know, I paid for my text. Is it capital or not? Yeah. So there's that. Well, luckily we have all the artifacts that we need. We now just have to launch and put things together. There's still the experiment that I have to write up and get some of that material ready, but we're doing really good. I do want to thank Anthony, my husband, for being very supportive during this, and Steve's wife, Annette. She actually made me dinner one time to bring home to Tony because we've been so busy, and then I forgot it. I said, honey, your sister made you dinner. It looked really good, but I don't have it. And Steve, of course, for all of his help. I don't have the domain expertise to put all these slides together. That's been him. And they're beautiful. And the photos from Rich and Jay and your help has just been really, really good. I think it's all this together, gonna really make this shine. And obviously the Swamp Society for giving me permission to come in and do this. I'm having a lot of fun. It's a lot of work, but a lot of fun. Daniel Hersig is one of our interns. He's not a member. He's one of our interns at Lucian. And he helped me put our Amazon Web Services server together. August and September were really crazy at work with this and getting ready with my Capstone committee. So he was very valuable. And I also want to mention him because there was a concern when I actually presented this to the committee of being able to sustain it. Like if I get hit by a bus, how can it be sustained? We really have a great school in RIT, and that there are a lot of students there, just as interns, that can pick up and do a lot of this innovative stuff. It's not just me. So I think it was Lynn that actually, you had that experience with somebody that was an intern and then left and you couldn't use, no? Somebody sitting next to me, what do you mean? And Jacques Dubac, he's the person who made the 3D Mammoth. I stalked him on Google for that, so I should thank him. I don't know who he is, where he is, but he's an artist. He's got some other things out there, and he's letting us use that 3D Mammoth for this for my project. So that's it in a nutshell. Does anybody have any questions? I know it's a lot. Is it interesting?
Yeah, it's very good.
Yeah.
Now you're going to use your smartphone out in the field?
So for the experiment, I'm going to supply the devices because in the experiment, I don't want the device to be an issue, right? I can't download the app and there is a data cost. So for the experiment, I just want to know, do you like, is the augmented reality making this a better experience, and do it versus not having the augmented reality? I've actually got another research project which is using an experiment of scaffolding with augmented reality in a science museum. So I really want to model my experiment off of theirs so we can do an evaluation against AR in a living museum versus what their results were using AR in a science museum. But in the future, what could be a summer intern coming in and doing is putting an array of Wi-Fi. If we put a Wi-Fi at the gentleman's house, we would have to bring in cable. So there's ways to make this so it's affordable for the visitor. But yeah, it is data. I am grandfathered in, so when I use my phone, I have unlimited data. Not everybody has that unlimited data. So.
Would it be a very large data use?
So that I don't know. I have to do those analysis. I have not done it yet just because we don't really have finalized what we have. Certainly video will be intensive, but there's ways to compress it. So I've still got to play around with that. And I'll be working with people from work and also Brian French on my Capstone committee, working with him on that too.
Pokemon Go. People love that. And so I looked up and that's data intensive. And they just follow it.
Yeah, I would guess it wouldn't be any worse than that.
No. And there are tricks that we use too to compress the images so that it has a smaller footprint. We have those tools at work too that I could use.
Is this aimed at a particular age group?
So for the experiment, yes, it's going to be for high school kids because the experiment that was done with AR in a science museum was high school kids. My original intent when I was doing this was really a visitor that's not a domain expert, right? Somebody like me who comes in and can appreciate the beauty of the swamp, but really doesn't have, I'm a would love to go back and be a botanist, but maybe when I retire.
Yeah, well,
But in the meantime,
one thing that occurred to me is that the biodiversity of the swamp is vastly greater than what you can show in your exhibit.
yes.
I'm
yes.
wondering if there's some way to make a point of that.
Which is why I think we can do other things, like create, a virtual reality app, or even just a video of a lecture series, or use different media to bring some more of that to other audiences,
You have a video that just rapidly superimposes pictures of organisms one over the other. The point is not to identify each organism, it's give the impression.
Right, right. We talked about having like a green screen and the docent or somebody lecturing, talking about different things, and then being able to superimpose, like they do in the studios, what's behind them, right? Certainly if we wanted to cover every orchid, maybe theme base it to the orchids, they're available, all through the year, but we could speed it up and make it available.
And of course, I'm a birder, so I want.
The birds.
We're obviously looking about birds in there, and also
Yes.
the fact that Bergen Swamp is an important bird area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of media will get this conservation, I think, to a larger audience, and even an international audience that wants, when I talk to people about it, I call it the Everglades of New York, right? It's something we do want to make sure stays another 100 years.
So as a board, then probably should decide what themes, select themes, is all them we would like.
Right.
So one is, highlight the distinctiveness that, whether it's for birds or natural history. Invasive species, I think would be another important theme, to educate about that.
I'm looking at RIT to getting a drone. I thought, there's a lot of people that can't get into the Bergen Swamp, right? And do a drone view through it and bring that experience to people that maybe can't travel in there. When I went in with Steve, I sunk. If Steve wasn't there, I'd still be there.
She only sank your knee.
I know, when you said there's no water, I was like, how did I sink to my knees?
Well.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.